third set. The two plots given below give the following information about 6 firms A, B, C, D, E and F for 2019 and 23. I will just show you the graphs in a while. It says there are few terms that he is using. PAT, the firm's profit after tax in rupees crores. So that is one of the piece of information that the graphs are giving us. ES, the firm's employee strength, that is the number of employees in the firm, and PRD, the percentage of firm's PAT. PAT is profit after taxes. The percentage of the firm's PAT that they spend on research and development. So that is called as PRD. In the plots, these are the plots by the way, these are two graphs, 2019 and 2023. In the plots, the horizontal and vertical coordinates of point representing each firm gives their ES and PAT respectively. For example, if you talk about company A, for example, this horizontal axis, so it says the center, the horizontal and vertical coordinates of the point representing each firm gives their ES and PAT values respectively. So these are the points which represents A, this is the point which represents A. So ES value will be nothing but somewhere between 700 and 900. So I will take the average of the two because it falls somewhere in the middle, and its PAT will be along the y axis. So it is 3000. So 3000 crores and number of employees is 800. That is how we can read the data for all the remaining companies as well. The PRD values, the percentage of PAT on R&D, the PRD values of each firm are proportional to the areas around the points representing each firm. The areas are comparable between the two plots, that is equal areas in the two plots represent the same PRD values for the 2 years. Okay, great. But please note, he is not giving us the PRD percentage value for any of the circles, but he says the PRD value is proportional to the area, and we know area of a circle is pi r square, that means it is proportional to radius square. The radius of a circle, if it is r, its PRD will be proportional to r square, but if for some other circle it is 2r, then its PRD value will be 2r whole square, that will be 4 times 4r square. So basic point is, if from any one circle to the other, if radius doubles, the PRD value will become quadrupled, 4 times. So for example, here the smallest circle that we see throughout is D. Let us start with that. So for D, can I say the radius is 1/2 of unit? So if I consider this to be 1 unit, now this is radius is 1/2, alright. So let us call this is R. So radius of D is R, suppose. So if radius of D is R, suppose its PRD value is some X percent. The percentage of PAT on R&D PRD value is some X percent. Now come to A. If this radius is R, can I say A's radius will be, can you see that? It will be 2R. So radius is doubled, so that means area will be quadrupled. So here for A, the value will be 4 times, 4x percentage. F is the same, so F also it will be 4x percentage. Now come to B. Now if you notice B carefully, can I say for B, the radius will be 3R, you see that? It is more than 2R and it is almost the midpoint, so we can take it as around 3R. So the radius is getting tripled, so PRD value will be 3 square, 9 times, so 9x percentage. If this is x, this will be 9x. C will also be same, 9x. Now come to E. Now if you look at E, look at the radius will be 2R and this again 2R if you will see. So overall it is 4R, this was 3R, this is 4R. So that means the PRD value for E will be 4 square, that is 16 times, so 16x percentage. And he said that in both the graphs the PRD values are comparable. So let us try to compare which will be comparable to A. I think C and D and F. A, C, D and F are comparable, so each of the circles will have 4x percentage, and whereas B and D are comparable to B here, so each of these will have 9x percentage. So these are the PRD values that we can calculate based on the circles areas. So there are three things overall. One is PAT, PAT, profit after taxes, other is ES, employee strength, and third is PRT. Now based on these graphs and those information, the information about PAT, the information about employee strength and about PRD, few questions are asked. Let us start with the questions. Question number 11, it says, assume that the annual rate of growth in PAT over the previous year remained constant over the years for each of the 6 firms. So PAT annual rate, right, annual increase, percentage increase rate was same, was fixed over the years for each of the 6 firms. Which among the firms A, B, C and E had the highest ARG? A, B, C and E. Which had the highest ARG? Now what is ARG again? ARG is annual rate of growth in PAT over the previous years. Remain constant over the years for each of the 6 firms. Which among the firms had the highest annual rate of growth in PAT? Okay. Over the previous year, remain constant over the years for each of the 6 firms. Now please look at this. Now if you look at the options only, let's focus on the options A, B, C and E. Now if you look at A, so the PAT value for A in 2019 was how much? It was 3000. Next, it changed to how much is A? Here A is here, it's between 3800 and 4000. So average of the two, you may take 3900. So from 2019 to 2023, each year it increased by some percentage, which is same, which is constant, he says. He says it's fixed, which remain constant over, assume that the annual rate of growth in PAT over the previous years remain constant over the years for each of the 6 firms. So that means it didn't change. So that means it would have increased by X percent, X percent, X percent each time, and it has become this much. Which is the other option? B, C and E. We have to check for these 4. Look at B now. B here the PAT was 2800. It changed to 3800. C, if you look at it, it was 2400. It changed by some Y percent, Y percent, Y percent, and then it became how much? 3000. And lastly, E, it was 2400 only, and it became 3500. So these are values for PAT, right? Now what is he asking us? Which firm had the highest? He is asking which firm had the highest ARG. So let's check. So 3000 to 3900. So 3000 to 3900, if you will see the increase, let's calculate the overall increase from 2019 to 2023, because since each year is constant, if overall growth for A is higher than that for B, the yearly growth here will be higher than that of B. Alright, so let's compare the overall growth only. So 3000 to 3900, can we see the growth is 900 on 3000, 30% overall. What about B, 2800 to 3800? So it's 1000 increase on 2800 into 100. Now to simplify this a little bit, 2 goes 5 times, 14 times, 5 by 14. 1 by 14 is 7.14, right? So 2 by 8. So around 35.7%. Higher than this. We want it to be the highest, huh? Please note it, we want it to be highest. C, if you look at it, increase of 600 on 2400, it's 25%. Look at E, increase of 1100 on 2400. Now please notice, there is no real need of calculating each of them. Can we see the increase was of 900 on 3000, increase was 1000 on 2800, increase was 600 on 2400. Here the increase is the highest and the base is the smallest. Clearly can I say it should be highest for the firm E for sure. You can also calculate the value and check that. So we could say the answer should be option choice 2. Firm E should be the correct answer. Next one, the ratio of the amount of money spent by firm C on R&D in 2019 to that in 2023 is closest to. Firm C, R&D value. Let us see, we have calculated the R&D values. Here it was 9x percentage of 2400. So in 2019, the value is 9x percentage of 2400, the PAT. And 2023, the value is C, it was 4x percentage of 3000. So this should be our answer. Simplify it and get the answer. So x will cancel out, percentage will cancel out. 00, 00 will cancel out. 6 will go 4 times, 6 will go 5 times, 4 and 4 will cancel out. So finally I will be left with 9:5. So option choice 1 will be the correct answer for this. Alright. Which among the firms A, C, E and F had the maximum PAT per employee? A, C, E and F. Maximum PAT per employee. So how do we calculate that? Simple. So divide PAT by employee strength. So whichever firm has the highest, that will be the answer. Let's try to see. So PAT options are A, C, E and F in 2023. Look at A. A, the PAT is 3900, right? Between 38 and 4000. Divided by 1300. So for A is 3900 by 1300, if I am not wrong, just a minute, by A 1300, yes. This is directly cancelling out, it will give me 3. So it is 3 crores per employee, right? Because these are, I think, in crores, the units are crores. Anyways, let us call them as 1300 units by 1300 units. So the required value for A turns out to be 3 units per employee. For C, 3000 is the PAT and divide by 800. So 3000 by 800 will give you what? 30 by 8 will be 3.75. So it is higher than A. So he is asking us the maximum. So clearly A is not the answer. Let us compare E value. How much is E? E is 3500 by 1400. So 3500 PAT by 1400 employee strength. When you simplify, this will be 2.5. Clearly not the answer because I have a higher value here. Next F. Now if you look at F, PAT is 3200 by 1000. So 3200 by 1000 is clearly 3.2. Still lower than 3.75, not my answer. So can I say option choice B, second option, will be our correct answer. Firm C is the correct answer. 14th one, the last question from this set. Which among the firms C, D, E and F had the least amount of R&D spending per employee? C, D, E and F. R&D spending per employee. So what do we need to do is, so for this question, for each of the companies, we need to find out the PRD value by employee strength. So PRD values we have already calculated for C, D, E and F. C, D, E and F. So C, D and F have 4x percentage and E have 9x percentage. Let us remember that. So 4x percentage, D also, and E has 9x percentage. F is 4x percentage by 4x percentage of by employee strength, by employee strength, by employee strength. Let us calculate for C. So what is the PAT for C? It's 3000, employee strength is 800. And if you remember, we already calculated this value some time back. So 3000 by 800 was 3.75. So it is 4x percentage of 3.75 if I want to simplify it. What about D? For D it is 2400 by 800, it's 3, 4x percentage of 3. And E, it's 3500 by 1400, 2.5 it was. So 9x percentage of 3500 by 1400 is 2.5. So here I should get 3500 by 1400, here I should get 2400 by 800. If I just want to write it down, this is what we will get after simplification, 3500 by 1400. And lastly for F, What is F? 3200 by 1000. So 3.2. Now please note 4x% of 3.2. We want the least. So since you want the least, can I say neither C nor F will be my answer? Why? Because I have a smaller value here clearly. 4x% of 3 is smaller than 4x% of 3.75. 3.75 is bigger, and 4x% of 3 is smaller than 4x% of 3.2 also. So neither C nor F is my answer. I need to compare these two, which is the smaller one. So this is nothing but I can write as x% of 12 when I take this 4 inside, and this is nothing but x% of 9 into 2.5 will be what? 22.5. Clearly this is bigger. So thus can I say the least will be the firm D, which will be the second option choice. So second option, firm D, will be our answer. So E is also bigger, hence not my answer. So this way, by studying the graph properly, we will be able to answer the questions here accurately. Alright, here it won't be taking so much time. So this is one of the sets that students would have solved. Alright, students who were smart with their selection would have solved.